into it. I'm going to just talk about a really simple framework. I like to call it a micro framework that is just used to test and make testing just a little bit easier. Also just make testing more convenient and really just kind of test anywhere. But then also the capability to bring those tests into XC-test or our unit tests to further use those tests instead of just kind of making them and then rewriting them. So I'll just kind of dive into the project right here. Lowercase t is just kind of inspired by JavaScript. They have a lot of weird name stuff. So I wanted a weird name thing, and I decided with lowercase t. So lowercase t is an enum that can never be initialized. It is only supposed to use statically. And in this case, we have one thing that it exists inside of it called a test error. Other things that we can do inside of it is set up a test suite. And a test suite is really just a way to have logging, but then also not crash your app. And really, T uses, I'd say, tries or throws or exceptions, errors, all the stuff or whatever you call it. It uses that to drive the test. So you can see right here that we have a try, and I'm going to assert, and I'm going to try to assert that false is true. Really basic sense, and I can even make it more apparent that it should not pass. And I'm not going to run it because it's already been run. We can see that this has some, handy logging, I would say, nothing too special, but it says it's testing my suite. And then it says, uh-oh, and kind of points at the function, the file, and the line. And then the error is just uh-oh because this is what I overwrote it. So it's like, of course, true isn't, false. Like if I put that, then that would be the error. So you can obviously put whatever errors you want, or you can let the T, decide what error. And there it says, of course, true isn't false. So that's easy. And really, it just kind of throws the error, and then Suite kind of just takes or catches that error and then prints out whatever error it was. So if we just said true, and I run this, then obviously this test would pass, nothing would fail. And the only reason these tests would fail is because something threw an error. So that's kind of just the whole overview of it. And I'll kind of dive into more of how you're kind of more supposed to use it. So I guess we can name the suite. That might be more helpful instead of just having one test suite that fails or doesn't. So let's say the suite is testing suite. Let's just say hello world. I mean, hello world's a great kind of, basic print. So we'll do that. But for this hello world, I want to try to expect something. So we're going to try, and then we'll say T dot, and you can see that every single thing in this framework is encompassed in T. So if I do T dot, I can see every single thing, and I don't have to try to grab this expect function or this log function or anything like that. So I can just see, okay, I can make an expectation that has a description. And so I'm going to expect that hello world is equal, oh my gosh, if I could type, oh, this is so much pressure, equal to hello world. Okay, so that's my expectation. It's a very simple expectation and should be true all the time. I'm going to just cut this last for a trailing closure. And so now I can kind of just add as many assertions as I want. I could add another internal expectation to this because expects are kind of like every single thing in this needs to assert true. So ideally we need, this assertion to pass. I don't need to give it that. But let's actually do what we're expecting. And I expect that hello world should equal hello world. And that's just a very easy expectation. But I'm just going to kind of type it wrong, and then we'll leave it at that. Okay, so I'm just going to run this, and I could be in any function, and I'll just kind of trying to, uh-oh, build failed. Oh, it's not good. Oh, I think it needs a name. It's just a parameter name. Okay. So everything works except the test. So when we actually run this test, we'll see that it's testing suite hello world, which is nice. It's the name. And then it's expecting that hello world is equal to hello world. But we do get an error, and it says that the test failed, or the suite failed. And it says that the first value hello world is not equal to the second hello. So to fix this really quickly, we'll just type in that, and that's hello world. Okay. So obviously this test would pass, and I guess I could just run it to show you it. And there we go. So the test passed. So quickly, I just wanted to show you a few more things. Is you can do t.log to log a message. You can do t.error or log error to log an error message. And this is just to kind of pipe it into whatever kind of logging functions you're using or anything like that. So you're not just having random print statements everywhere, because let's say that you wanted to overwrite this logger. It's just a function that takes in a string and returns void. So it's like you can pass it anything. This could be saving to a file. This could be just printing like it is right now. But I leave that kind of open to that. But that's the most basic of it. It's meant to be super simple. But like, as I said before, like, let's say I'm actually working on this view, and these tests actually mean a lot to me. These tests show that what I wrote actually works in the unit test sense. Not that I have to go to a view and I have to look at it and be like, okay, it works because that's what I think it works, or that's what it looks like it's working. Let's say we wanted to go to some tests and bring this into a test. So I'm just going to import T. And then you can just do xct assert, and all we're going to assert is the suite. So this is the most easy way to move over everything. The suite at the end just returns if it passed or not. So what I can do now, instead of running the whole app every single time, I can just run the unit test now. And this will run on its own. It will do logging on its own. It'll move the errors and any line number that fails. So we'll just see, okay, the suite passed, and that's easy enough. Quickly, last thing I'll kind of call out is that, maybe I don't want a whole suite for this. Maybe I just want to kind of use the expect. So to expect something is true, we really just expect that it doesn't throw. I mean, that's really it. And that's why this is kind of just such a simple framework, is I can just do xc t assert no throw, and then I'll just do t expect, and I can add multiple assertions to this expectation, or I can just say, hey, this shouldn't equal this. And let's say it doesn't. So then it won't have the logging as the suite does, but it will still fail, and it will still kind of give a description. The first value, hello, is not equal to the second value. So it was really just kind of inspiration on like, hey, how can I make something convenient to write tests outside of everything. Oh, okay, I'm not going to deal with the Swift conversion. Oh my gosh, not with Josh here. But it was like the whole thing of like, I'm in this function and I have to move over to a class and I have to set up a unit test, but really I want to test anywhere that Swift is, accepted. So that can be on UIKit, that could be Swift UI. I could test everything on a Swift UI, did appear, or, one of my favorite things is to just make the test run on previews so that all the tests have to pass for the preview to show up. And that's a really quick way to kind of work on it while you're developing. And then anytime it fails, you can just log that failure as just text to the screen, and you'll see like, oh, line whatever failed. So yeah, that's just the quick synopsis of T. I think it can be used in any language, and that's kind of why I made it so simple. But yeah, I just advocate for potentially writing more tests or making it easier to write tests instead of having to spin up a unit test for every single one. But yeah, any questions?
So you envision leveraging T. So the last thing you said there is what I was going to ask originally, is like, this idea came out of your head just so you don't have to build a test, like a legitimate test case around your components. Is that the idea?
Yeah, specifically for like iOS or Swift, how it's set up is I need a class that is an XC test or XCT test, and I need to run that to have my unit test. I can't really pull that out and put it in a function to quickly test it.
Gotcha. I'm imagining in the traditional like CI/CD pipeline, like you have to set those up to validate your tests. Anyways, are you saying that you're your T class isn't ideal for those scenarios. It's more for like in real time testing, I guess. What's the typical, like, what's the ideal scenario for leveraging T?
It is ideally for real-time testing. While I'm working on this view, maybe I'm working on this view model and I want to test the view model. I mean, at that point, I'm doing UI, view model, and a unit test, and I'm kind of switching between 3 different files. Maybe I just want to test inline at the function. Like before I even return, I can just do that suite and I get all that logging and I just see, oh, it passed. Okay, cool. So that's ideally it. But then after that, you can extrapolate that out. And since the suite just returns true, or something just throws or not, I can easily just throw those in a test and then continue to use them instead of having to throw it away and rewrite it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I see that angle for sure. Cool stuff.
Thanks. And yeah, it is so simple in the sense that the parameter is a throwing function. If it throws, then the test failed. That is as like simple or as complex as it is. Other than that, it's just, if I got a function that, throws, I don't care what it is, I failed. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think Kotlin has some of that built into its core language. Also, like very similar ideas, just pull assertions where you need them and throw if needed, but not as like nested as you have implemented for T.
Yeah, Swift has them. You can do a precondition or you can do assertion like as a global function, but I'm pretty sure that crashes the app.
Oh, sure. So. That's a good point. Yeah, same idea.
So, I mean, yeah. Okay. I'll share that link to the repo.